Welcome to St. Paul's Sunday School. I'm so excited that you're joining me again this week. Hopefully you've gotten to enjoy some of the nice, sunny, warmer days that we've had this week, and now you're ready to settle down and watch a little Sunday school. Couple of announcements this morning. As always, we have 3 ways to worship. We have our YouTube service, our 8 a.m. Communion on the Lot service, and our 9:30 Sanctuary service. Those are our normal church services. If any of those change in the future, I will, of course, send out an email, as well as the church email will come out, as well as I will mention it on our Sunday school lessons. 2 changes to those service times are on Palm Sunday and Easter. Both of those will be on YouTube, but we will have 2 communion on the lots. One will be at 8, one will be at 9. Then we will have 1 sanctuary service at 10:30. So just remember that. And again, our Lenten service will be this Wednesday at 7 p.m. on Facebook Live. Let's get started with today's lesson. There are sounds all around us, all of the time. I would like you to close your eyes and be completely silent, just like this, and listen to what you can hear. Now, what did you hear? Tell me, even if it's just to the screen, tell me anyway. I heard the bell on my cat. I don't know if you can see my cat's back there in the corner. I heard the bell of my cat. I heard some birds chirping outside. I heard we have a heater back here. I heard the fan of the heater. Right now, I just heard the wind chimes outside. There's lots of sound. I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but if you've ever lost power where your electricity goes off, all of a sudden, everything gets really quiet at my house because there's no fans running. We have ceiling fans in a lot of our rooms. The heat stops running, or the air conditioning fans stop running. The TVs or the computers go off. The refrigerator doesn't run. And there's lots of noise that we don't even hear because we're so used to it. I want you to either turn around or close your eyes and listen to these sounds. I'm going to try not to get them in the picture, but just in case I do, make sure you have your eyes closed or you turn around. So here's the first sound. Anybody have any idea what sound that is? That's a pencil tapping on a Bible or on a table. We could, like that. Now listen to this sound. Do you think you can get this one? What was that sound? That sound, and I'll try to show you that sound. Let's see if I can make it big enough that I can show it to you. That sound is a big waterfall. That's Niagara Falls. Now I have another sound. Turn around and close your eyes. Any idea what that is? You're right, that one's a bell. Some are easier, some are harder. Oops. Now I have another one. What do you think this one is? ideas? That one's rain and a thunderstorm. We're not used to hearing those yet because it's usually in summer when we really have thunderstorms, but sometimes thunderstorms can be scary. So some sounds are real peaceful, like that waterfall. Just to watch it, it's peaceful, or listen to it, or like my wind chimes I said I heard earlier when we were all quiet. Those are peaceful sounds, they're happy sounds. And then there's some sounds that can be a little scary, like that thunder and that big booming sound. I had a hard time finding sounds of thunder that were really loud and really booming loud, but I'm sure you can remember that. I'm sure some of you are scared of thunder as well. And just like I said, some are kind of like peaceful sounds or happy sounds and scary sounds. Some are loud sounds, some are soft, some are short, some are long. It depends. And all those sounds give us certain feelings inside. In today's story, we are going to hear a voice. That's going to be the sound that we have to imagine in our minds today. And I want you to think about if that voice is a scary voice or a not scary voice. Let's fold our hands and close our eyes. Dear God, thank you for giving us 2 ears and 1 mouth. Help us to use our ears to hear you and our mouths to tell others about you. Amen. Today's story is called The Transfiguration. Transfiguration, that's a really big word. But that word transfiguration means someone or something has a really big change. So as I read the story today, I want you to listen to about whose voice you hear and where is there a big change. I want you to think about those things as I read. Today's story, remember they're always listed at the top of your pamphlets, either there or there. Today's story is in the first book of the New Testament, which is Matthew, chapter 17, which is the big numbers, verses 1 through 13. And in the Bible, if you have little headings, it probably says the Transfiguration. So I am going to read from the Spark Story Bible this week. If you have a Spark Story Bible, it is on page 358. The Transfiguration. Peter, James, and John were very excited. They were climbing a mountain with Jesus. Higher and higher they climbed, right to the top. Then they noticed something different about Jesus. Jesus' face and clothes were bright and shiny like the sun. Moses and the prophet Elijah were standing with Jesus, talking about God's promise to save the world. Peter couldn't believe his eyes. Suddenly, a cloud covered the mountain and a voice said, "This is my son. Listen to him." The voice was God. Peter, James, and John covered their faces. Then Jesus touched them. They peeked up. Everything was the same as it was before, even Jesus. On the way back down the mountain, Jesus, Peter, James, and John talked about God's promise, but they didn't tell anyone else what happened on the mountain for a long time. So, we talked about, it was a short story today, but a lot happened in that short story. What was the transfiguration or big change that happened? Can you think? Think what you heard. It was when Peter, James, and John, I knew I didn't have them in the right order. Peter, James, and John were on the mountain with Jesus, and they were walking up the mountain, and they got to a point, and all of a sudden, they looked at Jesus, and he looked completely different. He was almost shining like the sun and was bright like the sun, and they saw Moses and Elijah, who didn't walk up the mountain with them. had appeared for them to see. Then they heard something. They heard a voice. Whose voice was that? It was God's. And even when I read it, it said, "This is my son, listen to me." I kind of got a deep voice. We don't know what God's voice sounded like when he spoke to them. But in my mind, I always think of it being like this big, almost like a loud, thundering voice when he spoke to Jesus. But maybe not. Maybe he just said, "This is my son. Listen to me." We don't really know, but we can imagine what it sounded like. But I think no matter what, sometimes if I would hear God's voice now, if I go outside with my friends and take a hike and all of a sudden some things started to get a little weird, kind of like the bright light of Jesus, like all of a sudden he looks different. And then I hear this voice coming out of nowhere, I think I'd be a little scared. And that's okay sometimes for us to be scared or surprised. But we need to remember that sometimes Jesus his message is surprising to us. We might not be ready for it. And all of a sudden we're like, what's going on? And we're like, I think God did that for me. And it's hard to realize that when you're little like you are, but that Jesus and God has a plan for every one of you already. And he will put little things along the way to help you go along that plan. So that is today's story. So I have to show you the pamphlets, and we do have a little activity to do. So first, this pamphlet is our younger kid pamphlet. We have the stickers. You should have, this is all these pamphlets. These are in the new pack. So if you have not gotten your new pack of pamphlets, you need to reach out, have your parents get in contact with me so you can pick them up. If you're deciding that, hey, I'm going to soon start coming to in-person Sunday school, that's fine. We can, as long as you bring them to in-person Sunday school, we use them there too. So, or if you just decide you want to come to in-person Sunday school, that's fine. It's whatever each family feels comfortable with. The Transfiguration stickers are right here. We're kind of going a little bit out of order of the sticker sheet this time so that we have Palm Sunday lesson and Easter Sunday lesson fall on those Sundays. So that's the big one. And then the other ones go in here, on here. And remember that this verse here is the same as this over here. So if you're not sure which sticker goes where, just look over here, okay? And you can read that, and that'll tell the Bible story again. Here are some sounds. We sort of did this activity in the beginning with you listening to different sounds. And it says, this is my drawing of my best idea of what God's voice sounds like. So now that you heard the story, you can draw what you think God's voice sounds like there. And then this is a little hidden picture. And you can read that and look at the pictures and find them down in here where they're hidden. And then this is an activity you can do with water glasses, but make sure you have a grown-up to help you, but you fill the glass to different heights and you dip your finger in the water and then you do along the top and you try to get it to make noise. So that's always fun. And then my older kids, you have this packet, or not packet, but pamphlet. This one brings it kind of to real life. You answer the questions here, like you read the question, answer it, and you can use the Bible to answer those, and then you find the words down in the word search. Your fun facts, and then seeing double. We're going to actually do this activity. Those of you that have this paper, you can cut it out right from here. Those of you that get this one, if you have this one, I actually sent an attachment. I sent it along with the email this week that somebody at home can print it out so that you can print it out and do it along with us. I'm actually going to cut this one. So the first thing, so if you need to pause and get this printed, that's fine. If you already have it, you can follow along. So, seeing double, and that's sort of what Peter, James, and John kind of felt like. They felt like they were seeing double when they went for that walk up the mountain with Jesus, because he was just regular old Jesus, and then all of a sudden he changed to not look like Jesus anymore, or look like a different Jesus. He was like bright as the sun, I believe the story said. So your paper looks like this. You cut out around the whole thing. And then you're going to accordion fold it. That means like a fan. So you're going to fold it this way, right on the dotted line. And then, so now it's folded this way. So now you're going to flip. Now you're going to fold it that way, the opposite direction. Just on the line again. And then I'm going to fold it the other way. So I keep going back and forth and back and forth. And you just keep doing that until you get it all folded. And my cat's back there making noise again. Until it looks like this. Okay, so that's what it should look like. So then once you have it folded like that, if you set it down, if you look at it kind of from one side, you see Jesus's normal face, like the brown face. But if I look at it the other way, I see Jesus, the bright Jesus. And it's easier to see with the paper than I'm sure on the camera, the way I'm holding it. But if you set it, like you set it on the table, you can look at it in two different ways. You can look at it that way, or you can come in the other direction and look at it that way. And you can see that it's two different ways. And you can see the regular Jesus that Peter, James, and John knew, and then you can see the transfigured Jesus, where he was bright and like almost like the sun was shining from him. When God talked to him, and they also saw Moses and Elijah as well. So sometimes God has big plans for us too, not just for Jesus like they did that day, but he has big plans for us. And sometimes those big plans and big changes are a little scary and surprising to us, but we still always need to listen to God. All right. So I hope you had fun today with this little activity. And if you ever have questions or comments, please reach out to me. Let's fold our hands and close our eyes in prayer. Dear God, thank you for helping me listen to you. Help us also to share your love with others in surprising ways, just like Jesus changed in a surprising way in today's story. Amen. I hope everyone has a wonderful week, and I hope that you get to start spending more time outside now that we've changed our clocks. Have a great week.